Good morning, boys and girls. It is the final Friday of the month, which is, as we know, the time to look forward to all the books that I'm looking forward to next month, or at least all the books that I know of that I'm looking forward to next month. Anyhow, we've got a list here today, so I'm going to get right to it. There is at least one of these books here that we're going to also be talking to the author. If you've been paying attention, you might know who it is. If you haven't been paying attention, that is fine. You're going to know soon. Number one, The Incandescent by Emily Tesh. This one comes out May 13th, and let's get a little snippet here. Look at you eating magic like you're one of us. Dr. Walden is the director of magic at Chetwood School and one of the most powerful magicians in England. Her days consist of meetings, teaching A-level invocation, not incantation, invocation, to 4 talented, chaotic 6th formers, more meetings, and securing the school's boundaries from demonic incursions. Walden is good at her job. No, Walden is great at her job. But demons are masters of manipulation. It's her responsibility to keep her school with its 600 students and centuries-old legacy safe. And it's possible the entity Walden most needs to keep her school safe from is herself. Anyhow, that one's going to be coming out. I'm not always a huge fan of the whole, academia storyline, although there's a few. I mean, I like Scholomance by Naomi Novik, etc. But yeah, this one I'm a little interested in. Have to see how that one turns out. Also coming out next month, we've got Anji Kills a King by Evan Lakem, or Lakem. Apologies if I screwed that up. That's coming out May 13th. An unlikely assassin struggles to escape a legendary bounty hunter in this breakneck fantasy debut that will grab you by the throat. She killed for a cause. Will she die for it too? Anji works as a castle servant cleaning laundry for a king she hates, so when a rare opportunity presents itself, she seizes the chance to cut his throat. Then she runs for her life. In her wake, the kingdom is thrown into disarray, while a bounty bigger than anyone could imagine lands on her head. Almost said lands at her feet. On her heels are the fabled mercenaries of the menagerie, whose animal-shaped masks are magical relics rumored to give them superhuman powers. It's the hawk who finds Anji first, a surly aging swordswoman who has her own reasons for keeping Anji alive and out of the hands of her fellow bounty hunters, if only long enough to collect the reward herself. With the rest of the menagerie on their trail, so begins an alliance as tenuous as it is temporary, and a race against death that will decide Anji's fate and may change the course of a kingdom. Another one sounds right up my alley. Hopefully, I'm going to be checking that out as soon as possible. This one I've already read. You know I love it, but I cannot leave it off this list. Joe Abercrombie's The Devils comes out May 13th. I could give you the whole spiel. I'll kind of narrow it down a little bit because there's already a full review out on my page. But basically, Brother Diaz has been summoned to the sacred city where he is certain a commendation and grand holy assignment awaits him. But his new flock is made up of unrepentant murderers, practitioners of ghastly magic, and outright monsters. Anybody, like I said, the check out the review. You know I love this book. That'll give you a little bit more details, but I'm pretty sure that everybody is already eagerly awaiting The Devils to drop. So this one's going to be a little interesting. It's on my list because it is, I believe, book 4 in a series that I have not read the beginning of. However, it's Mercedes Lackey, so I've still got to shout it out. Deliverance of Dragons by Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory. That is coming out May 27th. The epic conclusion to the first war of the Undarkened. And actually, because it's book 4, I'm not going to give you any details on this one. I would probably say, if you're interested in it, if you're a Mercedes Lackey's fan and you haven't started this series yet, check out book 1. The only reason I don't want to say anything about this one, it's either book 3 or book 4. I think it's 4. Because I don't know if any of these snippets are stuff that you don't know until you've read the first book. So I'm going to avoid spoilers on this one. Again, it's Mercedes Lackey. Now this next one, I'm probably going to mispronounce everything. Bear with me. Harmattan Season by Tochi Onyebuchi. I apologize. I almost feel like just saying it out loud. That was wrong. Anyhow, this one's coming out May 27th. This is a standalone novel. Fortune always left whatever room I walked into, which is why I don't leave my place much these days. Veteran and Private Eye Bubakar, another word I probably mispronounced, doesn't need much, least of all trouble, but trouble always seems to find him. Work has dried up, and he'd rather be left alone to deal with his bills as the Harmattan rolls in to coat the city in dust. But Booba is a down on his luck Dofoy. I feel like that's supposed to be French, and I screwed it up anyhow. Suspended between two cultures and two worlds, when a bleeding woman stumbles onto his doorway only to vanish just as quickly, Boba reluctantly finds himself enmeshed in the secrets of a city boiling on the brink of violence. The French, haha, it was French, occupiers are keen to keep the peace at any cost, and the indigenous Dugalin, I'm killing this whole thing, have long been shattered into restless factions vying for a chance to reclaim their lost heritage and abilities. As each hard-won clue reveals horrifying new truths, Booba may have to carve out parts of himself he's kept long hidden and decide what he's willing to offer next. So anyhow, this one is a mystery sci-fi mashup, and I'm usually down for that. I'm interested to see where this one goes. I'm also interested to see if I pronounced absolutely anything correct. I may have to pick up the audiobook. This one's going to come in sideways a little bit. This one is actually coming out in paperback. Normally, I don't talk about books that aren't, brand new. But this one I've been waiting for paperback for a reason. Anybody who knows me knows I was not particularly thrilled with Becky Chambers' Long Way to a Small Angry Planet or whatever it was called. But I've heard great things about her, and I've heard great things about the series, and Monk and Robot is finally coming out in paperback on May 6th. So I'm probably going to go ahead and give this one a try just because, it may just be that first one didn't jive with me. And again, not only have I heard good things about Becky Chambers, but I've specifically heard good things about Monk and Robot. So it's been centuries since the robots of Penga gained self-awareness and laid down their tools, centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again, centuries since they faded into myth and urban legend. One day, the life of a T-Monk is upended by the arrival of a robot, there to honor the old promise of checking in. The robot cannot go back until the question of, what do people need, is answered. But the answer to the question depends on who you ask and how. They're going to need to ask it a lot. Becky Chambers' series asks, in a world where people have what they want, does having more matter? Anyhow, I want to check that one out, and since it's finally in paperback, I'm probably going to be picking that one up. I just don't know where I'm going to slide it into my schedule. But anyhow, if you've been waiting on this one and you were waiting for the paperback is out. All right, now this one, coming in hot from Bramble, which is usually kind of a romantasy imprint for Tor. Don't read a lot of these, but this one sounds a little bit interesting for me. What Sleeps Within the Cove by Harper L. Woods, dropping May 13th. Once I bartered my soul for my mate. Offering Mab my bound allegiance was the only way to save Caldris' life, the only bargain I could make to keep us both from the void. After cruelly murdering the King of Summer, her own brother, Mab becomes unhinged, and there was no telling what she would do. Caldris is safe for now because of my sacrifice, but at a cost. Queen Mab only wants one thing for me. Then I was banished to Tartarus, from where few ever return. Mab has demanded a tribute, a snake from the crown of Medusa. Navigating through the horrors of Tartarus, I must pass the trials of the 5 rivers to prove my worth to the primordials and steal the unthinkable, all without my magic. Now I must embrace my darkness, my past. To survive, I must discover who I am, who I'm fated to be, human and fey, and something other. Embracing all the sides of magic, light and dark, is the only way to escape Tartarus and get back to Caldris. I will save him, the Fae, and the humans from Mab, even if it kills me. So anyhow, want to check that one out. Haven't found a lot of romantasies that I really kind of liked. But, according to Bristol Keats was one that I kind of enjoyed. And as I've told people before, I'm going to mess up her first name. It's escaped me. Lemming. I think it's Kimberly Lemming. I almost guarantee it's Kimberly. Anyhow, I've told you before, I feel like she writes very much like Travis Baldree, except for she gets a little spicy, which I don't need. So, still looking for kind of that romantasy that kind of speaks to me. There's a couple that have been close, or, that at least enjoyed, even if I didn't love them. So, I might try this one out. And then, one of my favorite authors on the planet, Seanan McGuire, writing under. Oh my goodness, I had this down until I started to say it, and now I'm stuck again. Myra Grant. I think it's Myra. Myra Grant, Overgrowth is coming out, coming from Nightfire. That is kind of the horror imprint for Tor. That's coming out May 6th. This is just a story, It Can't Hurt You Anymore. Since she was 3 years old, Anastasia Miller has been telling anyone who would listen that she's an alien disguised as a human being and that the armada that left her on Earth is coming for her. Since she's 3 years old, no one has believed her. Now, with an alien signal from the stars being broadcast around the world, humanity is finally starting to realize that it's already been warned, and it may be too late. The invasion is coming, Stasia's biological family is on the way to bring her home, and very few family reunions are willing to cross the gulf of space for just one misplaced child. What happens when you know what's coming and just refuse to listen? I also love the fact that it still says Myra Grant lives in Washington State. Seanan, we all know it's you. That's all I'm saying. Anyhow, another book coming out May 27th that I'm kind of interested in, The Sword Triumphant by Gareth Hanrahan, which I may have butchered. I think it's Hanrahan. Too many A's in that last name. But anyhow, this is a conclusion to a series. So again, I'm going to be very, very generic with it, but it's piqued my interest enough that I may want to pick up this series. And now I can't remember if I actually said the name of it, The Sword Triumphant, which, I did. So The Sword Triumphant, in his youth, Elfric slew the Dark Lord and saved the world. That may be a little bit spoilerish, but I have a feeling that if that happened in the first 3 books, that was probably also the whole gist of it, and we kind of know where it was going. But yeah, that saving the world had unforeseen consequences, and so he's hung up his sword and pretty much called it a retirement. However, things happen. He gets a cryptic message from a figure in his past, and they need him again. And is he going to? Well, I don't know why we ask these types of questions. We know he's going to pick up his sword and go on. That would be the weirdest curveball ever. Will he pick up his sword and continue the fight? No, just kidding. Here's your 5-page novella. Anyhow. But yeah, it is, it's definitely got that tale that's up my alley, the kind of beaten down hero who did what he thought was right, but things didn't go the way that it was planned, and can he put his ghosts of the past behind him to rise up and meet the challenge? Even if we kind of know where this type of story is usually going to go, I still enjoy the heck out of them. So the synopsis on this book has me interested in going back and picking up book 1 in the series, which a proper booktuber would have looked up and had that information for you ready, but I didn't remember to do that. So hand or hand, we'll figure it out. Okay, this next one is, I'm going to have to admit a little bit, it's the cover that sold me on this, but listen to what the book is about, and you can make up your own mind, decide what you think. Esperance from Adam Oyabani is coming out. That is supposedly coming out May 20th. Don't quote me on that. But this is another one of those mashups that I kind of enjoy. So Detective Ethan Kroll, it's an L, not an I. Detective Ethan Kroll is on the 20th floor of a Chicago apartment building. A father and son have been found dead, their lungs full of seawater, hundreds of miles away from the ocean. Abidemi Eniola, hopefully I said that right, has arrived in Bristol, England. She claims to be Nigerian, but her accent is wrong, and she can do remarkable things with technology, things that her new friend Holly Rogers has never seen before. Abby is in possession of a number of heirlooms that need to be returned to the rightful owners, and Holly is more than happy to go along for the ride, but neither Abidemi and Neola nor her heirlooms are quite what they seem. Abby is a target of Ethan Kroll's investigations, and Holly's life is about to become far stranger than she bargained for. In a clash of cultures, histories, and different ideas about justice, the consequences will be deadly. This is another one of those sci-fi mystery mashups, and I'm kind of down for those. See what we can find out. All right. Also coming out next month. I know this isn't sci-fi or fantasy. I got to mix it up sometime. But The Tenant by Frida McFadden is dropping. That's going to be coming out May 6th. There's No Place Like Home. Blake Porter is riding high, until he's not. Fired abruptly from his job as a VP of marketing and unable to make the mortgage payments on the new brownstone that he shares with his fiancée, he's desperate to make ends meet. Enter Whitney. Beautiful, charming, down to earth, and looking for a room to rent. She's exactly what Blake's looking for. Or is she? Because something isn't quite right. The neighbors start treating Blake differently. The smell of decay permeates his home no matter how hard he scrubs. Strange noises jar him awake in the middle of the night. And soon Blake fears someone knows his darkest secrets. Danger lives right at home, and by the time Blake realizes it'll be far too late, the trap is already set. It's actually kind of giving me some Pacific Heights vibes. I think that's what it was called. Old movie with Michael Keaton. Anyhow, could be a completely different story, but it's kind of giving me those vibes. If you haven't seen that movie, by the way, it was really good. We're getting off topic. All right, what do we got? And then, of course, we have to bring this one up. Everybody's favorite author. Well, you know what I mean. Everybody, one of the can't-miss authors of the current generation. Frederick Bachman's got a new book coming out called My Friends, dropping May 6th. I think my son already read that and enjoyed it. I could be wrong, or maybe he's just talked about it. But that one's coming out. Most people don't even notice them. 3 tiny figures sitting at the end of a long pier in the corner of one of the most famous paintings in the world. Most people think it's just a depiction of the sea, but Louisa, an artist herself, knows otherwise, and she is determined to find out the story of these 3 enigmatic figures. 25 years later, in a distant town, a group of teenagers find refuge from their difficult home lives by spending their days laughing and telling stories out on a pier. There's Jor, Joar. I think it's Jor. Could be Joar. I don't know. Who never backs down from a fight. Quiet and bookish Ted, who is mourning his father. Allie, the daughter of a man who never stays in one place for long. And finally, there's the artist. A boy who hoards sleeping pills and shuns attention, but who possesses an extraordinary gift that might be his ticket to a better life. These 4 lost souls find in each other a reason to get up each morning, a reason to dream. Out of that summer emerges a transcendent work of art, a painting that will unexpectedly be put into 18-year-old Louisa's care as she struggles to decide what to do with this bequest. She embarks on a surprise-filled cross-country journey to learn the story of how the painting came to be. The closer she gets to the painting's birthplace, the more she feels compelled to unleash her own artistic spirit. But happy endings don't always take the form we expect in this fresh testament to the transformative power of friendship and art. It's Frederick Bachman. Come on. We're all reading it. That's all there is to it. At some point. All right. And now for a curveball. Cold Silver for Souls is dropping supposedly May 27th. I've heard rumors it won't actually ship till June, but May 27th is the release date, so I'm counting it. That's all I'm saying. From one of everybody's favorite booktubers, Tori Tekken. That's going to be dropping out. It is a Western, which is not normally what we were expecting from her, which is why I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. But bear with me. Let's listen. Bounty Hunter, Necromancer, Outcast. She goes on the hunt when the law doesn't want to get its hands dirty. Born and bred in the harsh northern winters, Hunter collects bounties on thieves and murderers for a handful of coin, dragging Rip, her animated corpse, behind her. Trust wears thin in the wild territories, and the law doesn't always land on the side of justice, or the side of a necromancer. When a wealthy Shade Silver Baron blackmails her for a murder she didn't commit, Hunter takes on one last job, but instead of an easy payday, Hunter finds something she never expected, something that will tear open old wounds and set her on a path to find her own justice. This time, it's for someone else. And yes, this is the author who's also going to be on the channel at the end of May. Check my calendar. I believe it's May 26th. I know you're all checking my calendar. Don't worry about it. Anyhow, it's out there. It'll be there. It's going to be live, by the way. So, questions, queries, conundrums, bring them. And that is my list. I don't guarantee that this is a comprehensive list. It's obviously not a list of everything that's coming out in May because, yeah, we all don't have 8 hours to sit around and watch this. And let's face it, there's also a bunch that I'm just not interested in. And a few that have gotten by my radar. I apologize to those that I would be interested in had I known. Anyhow, hope you guys find something that you want to read here. Hope that this, helps your TBRs out a little bit. Hope that it doesn't, drown them any more than mine are. And of course, I sincerely hope that you join Tori and I at the end of the month. Also, I don't have a release date on it, so I couldn't put it on, but and I should have looked that up. I really should have, but I've also got Chance Dillon joining us at the end of next month as well. So, last final thing to last final one to remind you about. Also, we do have debut author Patricia Shanae Smith. Her book actually debuted. I think it came out April 22nd, but she is my first interview in May. That's also going to be a live one at whatever date I just put up here. I want to say May 6th, might be May 7th, but I think it's May 7th, but we'll be having a live interview. So if you want to come talk about her book as well, check it out. Got a bunch of live interviews coming out next month, and then I'll have a couple recorded ones in June that I'm sure you'll be looking forward to. As always, questions, queries, conundrums, drop them down in the comments, and I will try to answer everything that I can. And I hope you guys have a great reading month. I'll talk at you later.